It's about that time again. We have to talk about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. I know. But we must. When we make a promise and we take on a task, we always try to complete that task. Okay. Well, at least I am. Half of you are saying that you're not watching, you're only watching my recaps. But that still means I have to watch instead of watching something else. Anyways, but I did, and I told you every single week, I feel like, am I watching this because I enjoy Real Housewives of New Jersey, or am I just watching it because I've been watching it since the beginning? I think it's partially that, but also partially because we've been recapping it for quite some time, and I know a lot of you, if I don't recap it, when are you posting the Real Housewives of New Jersey recap? I'm like, did you watch the episode? No? Really? It's okay, but no promises that I will continue. I literally was just watching at least parts of the Watch What Happens Live episode with Teresa. When are we going to retire that Mugler outfit? Why is anyone still wearing that? I mean, she looks good. Teresa gives body, but I just don't understand. It's such a distinctive look. It's not a classic look either. I feel like it's so dated at this point, if anyone is even still wearing it. And I'm not just saying it because it's Teresa. I'm just anyone that I see wear it lately. I'm just like, why are we still wearing this Mugler outfit? Because literally when we see it, oh, that's Mugler. And for me, it's so trendy. It's such a trend that it's past its time. What are we talking about right now? I'm just saying what's sticking out in my mind. Anyways, guys, don't forget you can listen to our podcast and special episodes like the one that we just dropped with Lamont White, formerly of Bravo's Love Match Atlanta, give you all kinds of dating advice and more. Shout out to all of you that have listened to it already. But you can listen to that and so much more on the Kempire podcast. Be sure to subscribe and rate and review our podcast. Give us 5 stars. I'm not going to even tell you just rate and rate. No, 5 stars. Thank you. Let's get into our Real Housewives of New Jersey recap, finally.
Here we go now.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Oh. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. It was a busy weekend here over at the Kempire channel. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter, it was busy. So for those other platforms, you probably didn't see some of our full reports. If you want to see full videos of us reporting on this Real Housewives of Atlanta fiasco that happened at Kenya Moore Hair Care Spa, so much came out. Like at the beginning, it was one thing, and then it's another thing, and there was another thing, and then we got video, and then we had audio, and then if you missed any of it, be sure to check that out. But also be sure to check out our short form content, because there are stories that I don't cover necessarily in long form that I might cover in short forms. Like congratulations to Stormy Steele from Canvas Beauty. Seriously, come on. I know we are critical of her. We have to congratulate Love and Marriage Huntsville star, but before even any of that, the owner of the brand Canvas Beauty, she set a record on TikTok in regards to selling $1 million for a brand here in the USA. The first time ever doing it. Girl, that's how you do it. Forget about this reality TV business. You've been killing it in this beauty game for even before Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is what I like to see. I don't want to see the mess. I don't want to see you trying to produce anything on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Just keep winning. Focus on your brand. Forget about being known on reality television. This is where your legacy is built. I know we're critical of her and, what she's bringing or not bringing to Love and Marriage Huntsville. However, she did have a major success with Canvas Beauty over on TikTok in regards to selling $1 million in one live stream. That is the first time that's ever happened for a U.S. brand. Come on. That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations to Stormy. And I said this in my short form video. I said, Stormy, forget about reality television. I get it, the allure of reality television. However, your real legacy is this brand that you built from nothing. So congratulations to you. Also, we don't talk about Summer House, the OG Summer House. We talk, of course, Summer House Martha's Vineyard. Go check out our recaps. But Summer House, I don't have a lot to say. But Sierra, I'm going to get familiar with you because you're going to be on Traitors Season 3. However, you looked gorgeous. You look gorgeous during this reunion. I might have to watch this season. You guys, I already know you're saying you should watch. No, leave me alone. I don't got time for that. I'm watching Love Island UK right now. Okay, I got to catch up on that. But what I did gather from what I saw over the weekend is that Wes was like a fan favorite, and that's the thing. You can be a fan favorite 1 second and then the demon the next. And Paige, but I've been saying that I like Paige just from clips that I've seen about Paige. I was like, I kind of like her. The way she gathered him at this reunion, Sierra, I appreciate your vulnerability. I was just talking about that with Noelle from Summer House Martha's Vineyard, her being vulnerable on the show. I appreciate her being Look, Sierra is successful in her own right. Not only is she, successful, she's also beautiful. And when she came out, Andy was just like, oh my God, look at Naomi. Because she looks like a model. But isn't she like a nurse? Like, she's the nurse, right, that's in this crew. So she's brilliant. And Wes, you're trash. Am I surprised? No, because nowadays when people get on reality television, they're only looking for their come up. Paige, all of them exposed him in regards to into the text, in regards to Lindsay and Carla going through their issues, and he's just like, oh my God, we're having the most phenomenal season. Trash. I bet you guys didn't think I was going to be talking about this. But no, I said, we'll start off with before we get into the trash, we'll talk about the other trash that's on Bravo. Okay? But I'm not surprised. Sarah, I wish you nothing but the best. I'm sure there are plenty of men that actually have, more going on in their lives other than reality television. There's nothing wrong with reality television, but obviously this was the most important thing for Wes. Anyways, before we get into the Real Housewives of New Jersey, look, when I was traveling, this was like my best thing ever. It provided energy for me. It limited the amount of stuff that I had to bring. I didn't have to, bring my vitamins and things like that or my probiotics. Like, look, I already overpack. So partnering with AG1 and using their vitamin supplement for the longest time at this point has been a godsend. And easy to go down because it has like this fruit flavor to it, but not overly fruity. So it's not like sweet, but it's easy to go down. It provides me with energy, and I figured out why it provides me energy. It's got B vitamins for energy support. It's got vitamin C and zinc to support my immune system, okay? And it has prebiotics and probiotics in it. And they have spent the time and effort. They had a team of doctors and scientists. They tested it for 950 contaminants. It's also NSF certified for sport. Come on now. So if you have been, if there was one product that I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's the one that I'm using. It's AG1, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them back here as a partner of the channel. If you want to take your ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2. I take that as well. And get 5 free AG1 travel packs. That's what I used when I went to Portugal. With your first purchase at drinkag1.com/Kempire. That's drinkag1.com/Kempire. More information on AG1 and all your discounts will be available in the description. Okay. All right. Oh, let me open my notes. I hope I forgot to open my notes to talk about what's been going on in Jersey. I enjoy Jersey still more than some of the other shows where I tell you, I think it's so hard to watch. It's so hard to recap. I still enjoy it to a point. But now when I'm starting to talk about it, because of how divisive the cast is, how divisive the fan base is, it's like, and if you come over here thinking I'm going to be team anyone, you're wrong. Because just as much as I will shade or call people out for being wrong, it's on both sides. So this is not that place if you're new here. But if you're not new here, welcome back. Okay. So Melissa and Joe FaceTime with Antonia. She's away at college. She's going to major in business management. Fantastic. So Melissa says that she has an issue with being the only girl in the house now. Even their dog is a man, okay, or boy, whatever, male. So she also talks to Joe about what happened at the brunch in regards to Danielle realizing, like, Teresa and Jennifer Aydin might not have my back, and they might be throwing me under the bus. They also discuss Jackie Goldschneider's behavior. In a separate scene, we have Teresa and Jackie hanging out. I told you at the beginning of this season that I was going to at least keep an open mind to Jackie and Teresa's friendship. I said, let me at least watch it, because I know some of you are already slamming Jackie for being fake and phony, even before you saw the season. I'm not going to do that. I said, let me see. Maybe naturally it does play better on television in regards to how this friendship came together naturally. No, Jackie, you are so thirsty to be on reality television. And I get it. And I've said this before. I get why she might not want to be friends with Margaret, because Margaret seems draining as a friend, especially on this show, and expecting undying, unwavering loyalty. I get her not wanting to be friends with her. But Jackie also understands if she's not going to be friends with the draining Marge, that means she has to be friends with someone if I'm going to be on the show. It has been disheartening for her not being on the show. We saw that last season, but it's disheartening for us watching how someone that we thought that was level-headed, down to earth, very relatable, come across thirsty for reality television. When this woman has her own successful career, this woman has her own money, but no, she wants to be up on this reality television show. Girl, my thing is, Jackie, you forget just being on the show for as long as you've been on the show was enough to promote your book, was enough for you to keep, kind of clout chasing off of being on Real Housewives of Jersey. You really did not need to be on the show anymore. If anything, you're going out sad. If there was anything that was likable that people liked about you over the years, I think they're sort of like, just disgusted with Jackie at this point. And honestly, in the moment, I was like, all right, let me just see. I completely understand why she's done with Marge. All right. She says in her confessional that she's excited to be hanging out with Teresa. Fine. Teresa explains why she wanted to leave the brunch. And she said she made it more about Adriana's first soccer game. I don't know if I believe that 100%. She's got a job to do. She also refers to Marge as Sherlock Holmes. So, mentioning that Marge wasn't at this event. Teresa says she just wants Jackie to stand up for herself. Okay? And apparently Jackie's in a better place now, and now she feels she can stand up for herself. Oh, maybe. Maybe that's true. I'm not going to say that's not true. But Jackie says that the energy from Teresa and Jen are a lot lighter and more fun. I can believe that as well. I also don't think that they want undying loyalty from Jackie, but they want loyalty from Jackie. I think their approach to Jackie is probably less invasive as Marge's approach. Marge seems like a lot. So Jackie says that she almost felt, this is where you lost me, Jackie, because it's one thing to hang out with Teresa and have a good time and get to know her on a different level. This is where you lost me, throwing the whole John Fuda part in this conversation. Because if you wanted to remain neutral, this is not how you remain neutral. She said, I almost fell off my chair when you called John Fuda a parking attendant. We completely forgot to talk about that because a lot of people found that to be really funny in regards to, she's like, isn't he a parking attendant? Well, maybe he should have been a drug dealer. Okay. And look, some of you will be like, well, there's nothing wrong with being a parking attendant. Some of you will be like, well, we don't watch a show for parking attendants. Clearly, he's not a parking attendant, okay? But Jackie, that's where you lost me. Because if you were trying to remain neutral, you said you can see what Jennifer and Teresa are doing, you can see what Marge is doing, but you decided I'm going to jump in on this, and this is what you do. You take a dig at John. And I'm thinking to myself, you and Rachel haven't even had issues, right? I might be wrong. But what are the issues between you and Rachel? You had issues with Danielle. You've had issues with Marge. I'm trying to understand, for you to make that comment felt like you were literally what people have been saying about you, that you're just doing this, being friends with Teresa as a clout chase. And we see the tree huggers are like, oh my gosh, Jackie, it's so fantastic. When last season they were like, she's trash and digging up all the dirt on her husband, Evan. So the fans are just as bad as these characters on the show. Just because they're friends with Teresa, I'm just like, okay, it's not a real friendship, y'all. Marge FaceTimes with Rachel, and they discuss what happened at the brunch. And Rachel, of course, talks and gives her an update in regards to her fight with Teresa. Of course, Marge was like, I want to know everything, okay? Marge then makes a comment about Louis being unemployed and living off of Teresa when they talk about what Teresa said about John Fuda. Look, I'm still trying to figure out what Louis does for work. Okay, we've been trying to figure out what exactly does he do. We're not sure. It's giving very. Even Andy Cohen said this, not last year, maybe the year before. He said, "Oh, it sounds like what inmate Shaw does." Okay, that's not going to age well at all. Let's move on, because I felt like for the very first time, Dolores. I felt for the very first time that Dolores actually had something interesting this episode. And I think our initial reaction to Paulie is just continuously being proven in this season. Anyone else? Now I'm looking at Paulie like, oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, so Dolores brings up Paulie not getting a divorce. As you know, Melissa's old nose, the troll account, did an interview with our friends over at Behind the Velvet Rope with John Yontif, says that the reason why Paulie is never going to get a divorce, apparently she heard this from Louis himself, Paulie and his wife are not going to get a divorce, allegedly, because they run brothels and they don't know how to separate that business properly. Let me tell you something. This scene kind of made me go, wait a minute. Just his words because Dolores brings up the divorce, okay? And it gets a little heated between the both of them. Okay, he says, "What do you think? If when I get a divorce, I'm going to automatically propose to you?" She didn't like that, and she also didn't like his. Don't. I think Dolores can be sweet, but we've seen Dolores turn up. She was a parole officer, and she's from Patterson. She's no sucker. She knows what she's doing. She probably already knew about this stuff before it came out. So he said that he's not going to, they apparently have been working on the divorce. It's going on his 3rd anniversary. He already filed for it. All right. And apparently they were supposed to divorce last year. But he said they've been sifting through what they need to separate. Did anyone else pick up on when he said that? And all I thought to myself was that interview with Melissa's old nose. And I'm thinking, what they need to separate? Like, what at this particular point? First of all, it's going on your 3rd anniversary since you filed. When did you guys literally break up? Because didn't it feel like they said that they've been separated for years? I felt like they said they've been separated for more than 3, 4, 5 years. I can't remember every detail, especially of a storyline I don't care about. Just saying. But this exchange told me so much more about Paulie than it did anything else. Just the way that he commented. And Dolores was like, well, if you don't get a divorce, I'm going to have to make a decision. I'm going to have to, move on. His response told me everything that I needed to know. Everything that I've been reading into this relationship, for me, confirmed, I don't know if it's a real relationship, a fake relationship. I just know that there is no future here, Dolores. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear soon that they're not together anymore. Honestly, at this point, I miss Dr. David. But Dr. David, I don't know if he's still with this woman, but I know he's apparently moved on. I like Dr. David. Because at least with him, I felt like there wasn't anything shady. I do feel like he loved his work. I think he's like a workaholic, but he was really good at his job. There were so many instances where David kind of came in, not just for Frank Sr., he just seemed like a really good guy. So, but I don't know. I think Dolores needs somebody with a little bit more edge, but just not Paulie's edge. I don't know what Paulie is or what Paulie is doing over there. I didn't like the sarcasm that he was giving her in this conversation. Like she doesn't have a right to be like, well, I'm moving in. I'm a woman of a particular age, and you're divorcing for like 3 years. What are you trying to sort out? Why haven't you sorted this out yet? And look, I don't know Paulie's, financial situation, his business situation. I don't know any of that. But, sir, like, how complicated is this divorce? And it doesn't sound like it's a priority to him. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I have to say, this was like the first episode I was sort of like, what's going on here? Honestly, that was the only part of this episode that I found to be interesting. Anyone else? And then later on, during that clubs for a cause, that was the only moment where I was like back in. I didn't care about what else they were talking about at that event. I didn't care about Danielle's New York Fashion Week moment. We'll get to it. I didn't care about the conversation at the end of this episode with the Fudas and Teresa and Louis, but we'll get to it. And apparently Paulie and Louis are close. Oof, that's scary. I always find that to be interesting because we don't love Paulie's energy and we never have loved Louis' energy. So it's sort of like, makes sense. Get them both off the show. Look, get them both off the show. Anyways, back to this. So they have that conversation, gets a little weird. And Paulie's response to Dolores, he's like, if you need to make that change, then you should. That's never going to bode well to anyone. Like, because I think in a relationship, you want to feel like that person cares as much about this relationship as you do. And in that moment, it felt like he didn't really care. He's like, well, you got to do what you got to do. And not saying that he doesn't care. Some people just react that way. They get defensive as opposed to being vulnerable and saying, well, I don't want you to go. And I don't believe that he wants her to go. Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I believe with this relationship, honestly. Dolores, you deserve love. You deserve real love. And I don't know if you're just doing this for reality television. I don't know what you're doing here, but this is not it. This is not it. It's Frankie. No, Frankie Jr. is not working with him anymore, right? Good. Look, protect Frankie Jr. at all costs, please, and thank you. So Danielle is prepping for her New York Fashion Week. She's very nervous. Melissa apparently is very excited to be a part of this. So they're building their friendship. You remember last season, they had their little bit of an issue. But I have to say, last season, Melissa was trying to support Danielle. It was Danielle that sort of like threw that under the bus. Like she wasn't trying to support, putting out all this information about, Melissa took this and took that and didn't pay for it. I forgot what the details were. But it was like really shady. Like it looked like she was trying to help you. All right. She talked about her godmother, who is also her father's first cousin, and how close they are. That's the only family member that would be attending. Her mom is on a cruise, and she's not talking to her father, and she didn't want to invite her father because she feels like it would stress her out. Okay. In that David Yontef interview with Melissa's old nose, they also mentioned what happened during the fight between Jennifer Aydin and Danielle. And it has something to do with a comment that Jennifer Aydin made about Nate and something that Nate did. I guess Nate must have had some sort of like top surgery in regards to his like chest. And Danielle will fight you for her family. Like she loves her kids. She loves her husband. He loves her. I love that. I love their relationship. Although I don't love Danielle all the time, I do find her funny. But I don't love her all the time. And we'll get there in a second. But apparently that is part of the reason, allegedly. Look, we don't know. Melissa's old nose has done and said things on social media for these folks. So I kind of take some of the things that she says with a grain of salt, only to wait and see if what she says in these interviews actually plays out during the season. Then I was like, oh, well, maybe she was right. So because remember, allegedly Jennifer Aydin and Teresa were spilling all these secrets of what was being filmed in order to get ahead of the story on social media. So apparently, Jennifer Aydin makes a comment about the surgery that he had, making fun of it, and that's what ticked Danielle off. Let me tell you something. I know the tree huggers and the Melissa fans don't like each other, but I have to say, I feel like everyone on both sides love them some Nate because he doesn't want to hurt nobody. He doesn't get involved. Leave Nate alone. Leave him alone. Just saying. All right. So we have the Clubs for a Cause that Marge is hosting, and Melissa, Dolores, Rachel all attend, right? So they're helping give out, drinks and things like that. The husbands are all hanging out. Well, not all the husbands, just those husbands. Paulie's there as well. This is where Paulie lies. Because when they talk about Dolores getting married, he brings up the fact that, we're going to get into business together. Joe Gorga, in his confessional, of course, Joe Gorga, he says that I've known Dolores since I was 5 years old. Dolores does not want to collaborate. She doesn't want to work with you. She doesn't want to work. I mean, I believe Joe Gorga. I do. Anyone else? Dolores makes a joke. She's like, I don't want a big ring. Oh, well, maybe I want a big ring. Okay. But she tells the girls what happened at their lunch. He says a completely different thing to the guys, Paulie. So I kind of looked at him like, lies, the lie. Y'all notice that? He literally told a completely different story to the guys versus what Dolores told the girls. She told him the truth. He was like, oh, Dolores understands. No, she doesn't. She literally brought this conversation up to you. This is going to be interesting. Look, are they still together? Did they post recently together? I'm like, I need her to get away from that man ASAP. Honestly. We're over here worried about Teresa and Louis together. I'm now a little bit more worried for Dolores. Not too worried because Dolores, I feel more than Teresa. Even though Teresa, I do believe Teresa can handle herself. I do believe Teresa puts on some of that innocent thing. But Dolores can definitely handle herself. Okay? But sometimes when you're caught in love, we were just talking about this when we talk about dancing for the devil. Just because you're smart, and even if you're street savvy, doesn't mean when you're in love that you're not blinded by love. Anyway, the two Jennifers meet up, and I have to say, they are some of the funniest people on the show. I will give credit where credit is due. This scene between the two of them, apparently they bonded on the flight to Ireland. Who knows? Because look, there's a lot of stuff that they don't show, and we believe as fans of the show that we know, people's relationships. But if they don't highlight it on the show, we don't know. And apparently these two do have a friendship, and they do like each other. So they're catching up, and of course, Jennifer Aydin updates Fessler on her relationship with Melissa. And he's like, we're starting on a new slate. Not a clean slate, but a new slate. And she's going to Melissa's housewarming. I forgot that Melissa has a new house. But you know how much I love that house. The new one, not the old one. The old one was, ugh. It was terrible. Who designed that? Was that you, Joe Gorga? You designed it? But shout out to the company that did the redesign. They commented on a TikTok that I originally did when they showed the new design. I was like, yes, this is great. They did, oh my God. They took a terror. I don't know how they did it. Whoever had the vision for it. I believe another TikToker who talks about construction, interior design, and things like that. He says, you can tell the difference between when a builder designs a house versus someone that's an interior designer or exterior designer or whatever, designs a house. Whoever did the remodel, I think they even changed some stuff on the inside. The outside, though, looks like night and day than what it originally was. Thank God. Look, thank God. And look, Melissa, I know Melissa is going to act as if she's not reacting to what people said about the house on social media. Girl, it doesn't matter. You still won. You got to redesign it. It looks great. It looks great. I don't know how much it cost her to do that redesign, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. And it's a beautiful house. Oh my goodness. Sidebar. I'm not an elitist, but since Danielle wanted to be an elitist towards Alina, because they talk about Lena, Jen Fessler, and Jen Aydin in regards to Danielle, because Jen Aydin's having issues with Danielle. So this is where you're starting to see that the Aydin's coming for Danielle, and they talk about Lena being in VIP, and they said that you should what is she doing in VIP with us? I'm looking at you sideways, Danielle, for that. Were you being an elitist? Literally, this woman did your hair the day before. Did your hair, and you have a problem with her being in VIP with you guys? Like, at first we were sort of like, what does she mean by that? When remember last week when she says, oh, like, what are you doing over here? So I wasn't sure what she meant by that. I didn't know if logistically it only had a certain amount of seats. I don't know. But the way that they're spinning it, at least in this week's episode, it's sort of like Danielle was sort of treating her differently because she's not one of the housewives. And I was like, that's gross. But would it shock me? Honestly, not really. I'm getting little things about Danielle. This is why I say I find Danielle funny. But then there are certain things about her, like her family stuff. I feel like she's inauthentic sometimes. So I have a mixed thing with her. But there are times that she makes me giggle. And I'm like, okay, Danielle. But I can admit that. Some of y'all, you're so team somebody, you can't admit when someone's made you laugh in a moment. It's okay. Like if Teresa makes me laugh, I'm going to be like, yeah. If Melissa makes me laugh, I'm going to be like, yeah. If Margs says something funny, I'm going to be like, yeah. Because I don't care about teams. I could be team you this week and team someone else next week. I don't know these people. I don't care to know these people. Point blank, period. Speaking of people, no segue. But speaking of Jersey, if you're in the New York tri-state area, Jersey, that includes you, because I'm not coming to Jersey for a show. Come to our Kempire After Dark live show June 21st at Green Room 42. Tickets are on sale right now. Go get your tickets while tickets last. We're going to have a really fun time. There are meet and greets available. And for those that can't make it to a show, I didn't want to tell you guys about this because for those of you in New York, come to the New York show. It's going to be a good time. It's on a Friday night and it's Pride Month here in New York. But if you are far, far away, shout out to South Africa or different parts of Africa, a live stream link is available. Oh, that's the first. Look, come on. You didn't know? Yep. So if I'm not coming to your city, this is a great opportunity for you guys to view the show. Okay? All right. Anyways. Moving on from here. So speaking of Danielle, they also the Jens discuss Rachel and Teresa's fight. I really don't care about that fight because we're going to talk about it again. So we'll move on. So Danielle has her New York fashion show moment. What did you guys think of the fashions? I don't particularly like Danielle's style in general. I don't really love her bougie kid stuff. But, look. As someone that grew up on Staten Island and in the New York area, I do think that there are mothers that would love this for their kids. But honestly, it was the basics. I know she doesn't love that word, but it was the basics that I saw that she was prepping before that look really cute versus some of these more colorful, feathery outfits. But look, she's trying. If anything, I give Danielle credit for coming on the show and having something to sell. Because she's going to do very well for herself. She said last season, like she was not prepared for people to sell her out the way that they did. So good for her. Good for her. I might not like it, but some of you might. It's very Jersey, very Staten Island, very New York. Okay, anyways. All right. Melissa also attended. Melissa was very happy for her. Melissa was there with her cousin. And Nate just being a proud daddy. Did you guys see that little moment with his daughter? He loves his little baby girl. He's just like, I'm so proud of you. I thought it's those little moments. Her godmother was there. I thought that was sweet. So we have this sort of back and forth scene between John Fuda and Rachel and Teresa and Louis talking about possibly meeting up. Apparently, Paulie was the one to sort of orchestrate this meeting up between the two because Louis said he wanted to meet up with John Fuda, but John Fuda's like, I want an apology from Teresa if we're going to meet. Rachel's issue, and look, my issue as well is the semantics. We know exactly what Teresa was doing when she went to that party and kept on bringing up, oh, I heard John Fuda was the biggest drug dealer in Bergen County. We knew what she was doing. It's not about being in past tense or present tense. It was more about, I'm going to bring this to the camera so for the people that didn't know and for what his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his son is saying, the biological mother of his son, because I did see what Rachel Fuda said. That she's like, I'm his mother. Oh. Look, some people might say, Rachel, that was too far. However, let me speak to Jaden, because Jaden might say the same thing. And at the end of the day, the only opinion that matters in this particular situation is Jaden's. And apparently, that I believe Jaden would probably say that. Damn, John Fuda was exposing all the tea on his ex-girlfriend. Anyway, so they have that sort of back and forth. John believes that Louis wants to be in control by knowing everyone's secrets. Then he says, you know, he's calling me a drug dealer, maybe because he's a drug dealer. Well, those haven't been any of the accusations that we've heard about Louis, but I mean, nothing would surprise me about Louis. There's something just off about Louis. There's something just like, I don't know how Teresa gets into these situations. I mean, Louis, in comparison to Joe Giudice, you know, the same Joe Giudice that called her a see you next Tuesday on television. I still think that look, and we know he committed mortgage fraud, but I still feel like Louis is more sinister than him. Because maybe Joe Giudice, he shows us exactly who he is. But Louis, we're still trying to see who the real Louis is. Just saying. Look, okay. So we have those separate scenes where they're discussing it, and like I said, I feel like Teresa now trying, and honestly, that was Jen Fessler giving her that little ammo in regards to, oh, it was more about I didn't mean it in present tense. I meant it in past tense. It doesn't matter. You were saying that, you were weaponizing it like Rachel said. It has nothing to do with past tense, present tense, future tense, okay? Anyways, so Teresa and Rachel and their husbands meet up, okay? What I thought was interesting here, guys, was that Teresa brought champagne for her brother's housewarming. I didn't expect that. And some might say, the people that are not tree huggers, might say, oh, it was performative. No. Look. The cancer rising in me is coming out. I think that she really, maybe there's a spark of hope for their... Look, if you have a sibling that you were somewhat close with, back close with, and close with when you were younger, that's still a brother. I know it's reality television. I know there's been a lot. She really just doesn't like Melissa, and she never has liked Melissa, even when they were, quote, getting along. However, I was like, no, maybe there's hope. I know she would not say Melissa's name on Watch What Happens Live. She would rather do anything but be friends with Melissa again. But she would let her brother build her house than be friends with Melissa. I don't know. That gave me a little hope for their relationship. I don't know. I don't know if there's any hope. Unless he divorces Melissa, and I've said this before, unless he divorces Melissa, I don't see them ever really getting to a better place. It's actually really, really, really sad. But if it's a toxic situation on either side, I would never encourage people to stay in toxic situations. Just saying. But I did not see that come. And look, unless Louis told her to do it, I don't know. I'm trying to give Teresa the benefit of the doubt. Can we all give Teresa? Come on, live chat. Come on, replay crew. Like the video, subscribe. Let's give Teresa the benefit of the doubt. That maybe she was just like, you know what? I thought that was actually really sweet. Look. I could cry just thinking about it. Ooh, is it full moon? I don't know. I thought that was so random. I did not expect that coming. Because all of you, some of you, were calling Melissa and what she did in the locker room, telling her son to go say and hug his aunt. You said that was performative. So some of you will say that, oh, this was Teresa being performative. I'm going to hold out hope and have a hort that either side, there is still a speck of love. A speck a speck, okay? She loves her brother, and I think he loves his sister. And I've said countless times, I feel as if there was an issue, like with Louis, he would show up for his sister. I think so. Look at, why did you guys tell me I had something on my eyebrow? Anyways, guys, don't forget, you can take our live show and special episodes like the one that we did recently with Lamont White, formerly of Bravo's Love Match Atlanta, on the Kempire podcast. So be sure to subscribe today. And while you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. 5 stars, nothing less, nothing less. And liking this video helps not just my channel, but other channels that discuss hot topics, that discuss Real Housewives in Jersey or reality television in general as well. So be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on your notifications so you never miss out on breaking news like we had the Real Housewives of Atlanta stuff. Lord have mercy. That was a mess. All right. So Rachel, John, and Teresa and Louis have a conversation about their issues, okay? And they talk about the whole, bringing up the fact that he was a drug dealer. Here's the thing. Then John reveals some information about his history with Jaden's mom. I thought that was pretty shocking, about her criminal past, about, when she got in, she was driving behind the wheel and they got into an accident, like she did it intentionally. So he gives us a lot of tea in regards to that relationship. Remember, this woman is still in prison. Okay, and if you look at her rap sheet, it's like it's pretty damning. Oh, sidebar, I forgot to even mention the guys, the guys when they were playing for the playing golf and they were acting a fool. We can always depend on the guys to be silly, immature, because they were doing they were hitting the ball out of each other's cracks. Oh my God. Only Joe Gorga would come up with a thing like this. But let me tell you, as soon as they put one in John Fuda's, I was like, here we go. Because we were just talking about the whole double-sided dildos. But this is light, fun energy. Look, this is light, fun energy. As opposed to some of the other things that we're talking about, like this last conversation. So Teresa and John end up going back and forth the majority of this conversation, because apparently Teresa's like, I thought you and I had a connection. And she says, she starts bringing up, like, I meant in the past. And if I said it in the present, I apologize. So she does apologize, but John doesn't feel that it was authentic. And honestly, I don't think that it was authentic either. Okay. But she did apologize, John. I will say that. I'm going to point out she did apologize. I need to ask the room though, and replay crew. If someone apologizes and you don't think that it's authentic, is it an apology? Should you press on and say, and still continue the fight, even though you don't feel that the apology was genuine? Even though they do say it. They do say it. That's where I was conflicted a little bit. I think we could move on, but because I feel like it wasn't a genuine apology, I'm not going to deal with you. I'm going to be cordial, but I'm not going to, it's never going to be that deep because I see you for who you really are. But just the pushing of the battle, because then John and Rachel end up leaving because he's like, I came here for a genuine apology. Okay. What I found to be interesting, though, I don't know if anyone else noticed this. Louis was saying nothing. Louis was just sitting there with that almost like, what's his name from Married to Medicine, Dr. Kima, and the Cheshire grin. That's what all we got from Louis. You had like it's one thing like he wants to just let John go off, but your wife is going off and you are sitting there almost as if you're not supporting her. So it felt weird. It felt weird, first of all, that this man and this woman are fighting and your husband's just sitting there. At least with Rachel, she was chiming in, having her husband's back. Your husband, Louis over there, is just sitting there smiling. And he might say, I'm just doing that to make John look like a fool. But it didn't make John necessarily look like a fool. It made John look like a hothead, but it also made you look like you weren't supporting Teresa in that moment because Teresa's going off. If Teresa and Louis were having the same energy, it would be different. But Teresa's going off and you're just sitting there like this, smiling. It was weird. It was weird to me. And as John is walking out, Teresa refers to him as a drug dealer, and then he says, "Oh, you're the poster child for mortgage fraud." I just, I don't think there's any future for this group of folks. I'm tired of this fight between these couples because at this point I get where the Fudas are coming from. I don't think they will ever get a genuine apology, one that they feel is genuine. Never. Never, never, never. And they did talk a little bit about on Watch What Happens Live. I didn't get to see the entire episode about the reunion. And Teresa was like, yeah, the way that the season ends sort of is like a reunion and a finale all in one. I guess we'll see. I guess at this point, I'm happy there isn't a reunion. Because at least that means we're gonna have at least 2 or 3 less episodes than we need to follow and recap. And then once the finale hits, I'm like, oh, good, we're done. And I don't want to see anything special, Bravo. Save it for your mama. I don't need anything special. If anything, you know what you can do for us? Let us know we're taking a hiatus. Take the hiatus and figure out what you want to do with this show. We need it. I need a break from all of them. And honestly, I know people feel, I saw Alexia and Marisol were talking about how Teresa and Dolores should be the anchors for a reboot. No, because we already proven in RHONJ that we could reboot an entire cast and be fine. Yes, it took a long time, but we've already proven that that can work. We already have. No matter if you felt like RHONJ wasn't a great reboot, a lot of people did. They kept the entire cast and they added another, I guess, friend or guest of the show, Rebecca Minkoff. So it's proven it saved them money too. You got rid of a bunch of people that you were paying millions of dollars to, and now you don't have to pay them that much. Real Housewives of New Jersey is draining. The cast is draining, but the fans are even more draining. Not you guys. You guys are not so draining. Thank God. Our community, we have each other to talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey together. Have you liked the video yet? Have you shared the video yet? Have you subscribed? Because I know quite a few of you are in the bushes. Well, let me tell you something. Because you're not subscribed, because you don't have your notifications on, you're missing out on stuff that you don't even realize you're missing out on. You're missing out on community posts. You're missing out on shorts. I put out a lot of content. I'm not saying that lightly. Like this weekend alone, I put out a lot. And I implore you to follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, because sometimes some of the content that I put there, I can't put here, or I can't fit in shorts. So, or sometimes I'll edit it down so it does fit into shorts because they limit you here on YouTube. So I implore you, if you want a full version of something, or my initial reaction or the first reaction, I implore you to follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. And on Twitter, because sometimes what I talk about on Twitter, I don't talk about anywhere else. Because I'll post a random thought like I did about Tisha Campbell. And I said, we need to give Tisha Campbell her flowers for being in this game almost 50 years. It's still very funny, still very talented, still that girl. I love her on Netflix's Act Your Age, but I loved her more on Uncoupled. I don't know if they're bringing that back. I keep hearing mixed things. They need to. She was great in that. And I like the premise of that show. Look, I've digressed. Guys, we still have our Real Housewives of Dubai recap. Dubai is now on the 11th. They switched up the dates, so we'll talk about it on Wednesday. But go check out everything that you missed this weekend, because I know a lot of you were busy. It's summertime. Fantastic. Again, if you haven't gotten tickets for our New York City show on June 21st, the countdown officially begins. We have, 11 days, less than 11 days till our New York City live show. Stay tuned for more details on that. But go get your tickets. And as I mentioned before, if you are far, far, far away and still want to experience the show, go get your tickets for that. There is a live stream option. This is the only option available for any of the shows that we have coming up. If you're in Nashville or if you're in Atlanta, go get your tickets for that as well. More information is available in the description. Thank you all for being here. Have a great rest of your Monday. I hope you guys have a great Monday. I will see you all in the next one. Let's get out of here with a little music.
we go now. Here we go.